What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. Hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to be talking to you about the new album from the band Putridity, entitled Ignominious Atonement. This is released on Willowtip Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of Ivrea, Italy, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very fast-paced, unrelenting, gore-fueled style of brutal death metal. Yeah. Putridity is one of those brutal death metal bands that come from a very long and established line of bands to come out of Italy and are very, very synonymous and representative of a country that just delivers some straight up crazy, nearly awesome brutal death metal. When you think of Italian brutal death metal, you think of stuff like maybe Vulvectomy or Corpse Fucking Art or Hour of Penance, or even newer bands like Blood Truth or Devangelic. Putridity is one of those really awesome bands to take the cake for that kind of style, and they have done so in the form of some really interesting full-length albums. 2007's Mental Prolapse Induces Necrophilism, and 2011's Degenerating Anthropological Euphoria. The thing with me and Putridity is the fact that these albums are both relatively short, and the more you listen to them, the more they begin to grow on you. That was the case with these first couple of albums. I liked them at first, but then as I listened to them more, I began to like them more. And there is a lot to like, I would say, about Putridity. The really guttural vocal delivery style, the relentless fast drumming, incredibly technical guitar riffs and bass tones, just an overall speed that this band has is just it's sensational to listen to. It's clearly been a while since we had heard an album from Putridity, and now we're here with the third full-length entitled Ignominious Atonement. It's 8 tracks, and it clocks in at around 26 minutes in length, and by brutal death metal standards, that's a reasonable length for an album. It's probably one of the longer Putridity albums, but what I notice about this album is the fact that it seems to strive to be a little bit more mature in comparison to previous Putridity releases when it comes to the artwork, the overall song themes and concepts. From what I understand, there's a little bit of an Eraserhead sort of influence going on with this record, but in the end, it feels like a Putridity record, and you're going to get the maximum amount of brutality that you would expect from a Putridity record on here, although it's very easy to tell that this is a far different record than the previous work. Music-wise, pretty much part of the norm for this band. You're going to get a really good mixture of some very well-toned, very expertly played guitar riffs going on here. I mean, on the opening track, Conceived Through Vermination, you just get a really good all-out assault of guitar riffs going on with that track. It's just really awesome to listen to. Very well thought out and planned. Then you get to songs like Dead Festering Drainage and even Mortifying Carnality. Just some amazing guitar work going on with those tracks. The riffs are very heavy, very well done, very well established. I like the tone, I like the presentation of it. It just feels very heavy, especially when it comes to the little bit of the more brutal, slammier sort of parts. I just think it's incredible to listen to. Like previous Putridity albums, the bass work is very clear. It's very audible to listen to. When you do hear the bass guitar being played, it's very dominant and well intended throughout the entire release. It's not too dominant because it's mainly a guitar riff driven record, but the bass guitar does have its moments to shine, and I think it sounds really awesome. When it comes to the drums, Brutal Dave is without a doubt the main man when it comes to Italian brutal death metal and when it comes to drumming styles. I mean, this is not the only band that he's been involved in. Of course, you know him best for his work with bands such as Septical Gorge, or even bands like Beheaded or Hour of Penance. This guy is such a beastly drummer. He is so quick, so fast. He has so much stamina going for him. It's insane. And with an Ignominious Atonement, he takes his drumming to the continued next levels. Just some incredibly fast footwork, awesome double bass and blast beats, a little bit of hyper blast gravity style moments going on this record. I really think that that Dave does some amazing drum work on here. From what I understand, this is the final album that he's going to be appearing on for Putridity, which is somewhat of a bittersweet moment, but for what it's worth, you're going to get a long-lasting impact with his drum performance here on Ignominious Atonement. I really think it's sensational, and it proves why he's one of the very best drummers in brutal death metal and in general. And when it comes to the vocals, it's the typical Putridity vocal style. This guy, I should also mention, this is his last album with the band too. He's going to continue on forward with Evangelic. But his vocals on here are really deep, very guttural, very undecipherable to hear, but yet he does his vocal style with great justice. I love his vocal delivery. It's very ugly, it's very uncomforting, and he really brings the listener to his knees with the kind of vocal delivery that he does. And if I'm not mistaken, on the track Dead Festering Drainage, you have Danny from Malignancy making a guest appearance on that track, which makes it all the more fun and entertaining to listen to, I would say. So overall, if you're a fan of Putridity, if you have been impressed by this band's previous works, you're going to find something special to enjoy with Ignominious Atonement. Like any of the Putridity albums I've heard, I've given this a lot of listens, and by each listen, it continues to grow on me and get a little bit better. I don't know if I like this in comparison to the last Putridity record, because I started to like that album a lot more and more. But as far as this one goes, this is a completely different beast in its own right, and I really had a great time listening to it. It's a really awesome recommendation to anybody who's into Italian brutal death metal or just brutal death metal in general. It's a very fun release. So if I had to pick any favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Conceived Through Vermination, Dead Festering Drainage, The Bone Sculpture, Mortifying Carnality, and the closing track at the end. It's one of the longer tracks on here, probably like 4 minutes for the longest track on here, but it's a solid closer to a solid album. So I'm gonna leave you some links in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this album and listen to it. I will link you to the Willowtip Records Bandcamp page where you can stream this album in its entirety, hear it for yourself, and be your own judge as to whether you think it's worthy of being purchased or not. You can buy it digitally, and it is also available on CD. I believe there are also t-shirt and hoodie and long sleeve bundle options in case you want to grab some merch to go along with this band, and I'm pretty sure the band will have copies themselves to buy from if you want to support the band. So, again, the album is Ignominious Atonement by Putridity. This is released on Willowtip Records. Go check this out. And for a score, I'm going to give this a very strong 8 out of 10. Very solid release from this band. Very much continuing to be a little bit more mature in their sound, but still deliver copious amounts of brutality. So, if you've heard this album, let me know what you think of it and how you think it compares to previous Putridity records. So, I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel, and until the next time, Armijo out.